I did not think it was gonna be that funny, but it's actually that funny. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new video, new vibes on my YouTube channel. You're always welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Keionna, for those of you who don't know. And as always, please make sure you guys are signed into YouTube to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the notification bell to join the notification group and sprinkle some love on that like button to better help this channel grow. Today we're having our discussion for our January book club pick for Reading Out Loud Book Club. We read The Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport. Make sure you guys follow the Reading Out Loud Book Club Twitter and Instagram accounts to stay in the loop for exclusive updates on our current and future reads, new releases, and live show information. I'm super excited to finally be able to sit down and talk about this book with you guys. This is the first book in the Blood duology, and I've seen this book talked about all over Twitter and just about everywhere else. This book was released in April of 2022, and I'm super excited for the second book to be released. I just talked about that book in my most anticipated reads of 2023, so make sure you guys check that video out as well. But yeah, if you guys are interested in discussing this phenomenal book with me, then please continue watching. First, I want to talk about why I chose this book for our book club. I chose this book because this book is complex and it is unique, where we have this almost futuristic sci-fi world and the characters are very militant. This book definitely took me by surprise in a good way. This book almost reminds me of Children of Blood and Bone just a little bit because of the way it springs right into action the moment you begin reading it. And I bring that book up mostly because Children of Blood and Bone was our January book club pick of last year, and I'm noticing this trend in Black fantasies where the word blood is in the title. So that's just sort of my comparison of the two books, but these two books definitely have a lot of contrast. The Blood Trials is definitely more on the mature reader side. This is not a YA book, and I really hope that nobody thought that, because this is definitely not that. I will say that I do feel like I was a little misled by this cover because it gives me YA vibes, and this is definitely not YA. This is new adult. Honestly, I was a little thrown off about that because the main character's best friend is like super sexually liberated and there's some smut in there, and I was like, OMG. And there is a lot of butt kicking and wisecracking. The dialogue really felt a little immature, so I feel like it's straddling new adult and this sort of like in between phase of YA. This book has great pacing. Within the first 100 pages you know it's going to be a banger, and at about like 200 pages I knew that I wanted to get the second book. The world building, 10 out of 10. The author does an amazing job of transporting us into the world. The character development is great. The action scenes, the trials, all of the fighting was all so brutal, but it was just so good to me because I feel like it makes for a really exciting book, although it was a little gruesome. I really like the main character, Keionna, and that fondness quickly turned into love because she is so fierce and so tough. She's like bionic, literally. But delving a little bit deeper beyond the surface, she has a bit of a rebellious streak, and she also allows herself to be emotional and really makes a lot of her decisions based off of her real human emotions, which I feel like is so powerful and so feminine. And aside from all of the fighting, she's not afraid to be vulnerable. A lot of what she does is driven by her emotions, and I really understand her in that way as an empowered woman myself. It could also come across as a little bit reckless, but I think we all understand that Keionna is grieving. The story goes a little something like this. Keionna is going through a really dark time as she is grieving the loss of her grandfather. Her grandfather was her primary caretaker, and he was also the highest ranking sentinel of the Praetorian Army. Keionna has reason to believe that her grandfather was actually murdered, and there is one suspect. Keionna enlists in the blood trials with some of her friends in order to exploit the blood trials to get close to Darius Reed to find out the truth behind her grandfather's mysterious death. The tension between Keionna and Reed is impeccable. I literally live for this sort of suspense. Keionna comes from the Marine Republic, and she is a mixed breed. She is half Canaan and Praetorian, and the Praetorian is the superior race and the Canaan is the minority. There is a prevalent theme of racism between these two nations. Because of this, Keionna would be viewed differently in her society and amongst her peers, so she really tries to keep her heritage on the DL so that she can get through the blood trials and become a defender of the Praetorian Republic. It shows the experiences of the main character through the lens of the main character as a woman and also a minority. Because of her mixed heritage, she is gifted with a power that gives her an advantage in the blood trials, and the blood trials are deadly, and that was definitely something that I didn't expect as well. So she's fighting in the blood trials and she's snooping around to find whatever information she can about her grandfather, and she's getting like mixed up and caught up in all these different situations and scenarios. The people in the blood trials really play hardball with Keionna. Like, they are really trying to take this girl out. A huge war is about to break out, and while I'm on this topic, I really wanted to talk about this, but does anybody else feel like with the 400 to 500 page books, the authors sort of purposefully extend the length to like 400 or 500 pages because it's trendy? This book is definitely big in terms of the page length, and the chapter sizes are pretty big as well. This book definitely challenged me in that aspect, but in a good way. I feel like I gained major brain cells from reading this book. It is not dense or dull or overly fluffy. It is authentic and it is also multifaceted. So all in all, this is definitely a 10 out of 10 all across the board for me. How do you guys feel about The Blood Trials by Annie Davenport for Reading Out Now Book Club? Leave me your comments down below, and I'll see you guys in our next discussion right here.